Welcome to a little daddy wellness story time computer yap. Today I'm going to be telling you why I broke up with the Mary Jane, my whole story with the Zaza, the loud, the gas, the cheese, the good grass, all that, and why I quit. And then at the end, we'll go through some of my funniest memories when I was absolutely boned to the wheels, which should be a good fucking laugh. But before we begin, let's get a little sugar flowing in the lower right cabinet, and let's hit a little three shove on the old board there on the fucking carpet. Bang, there it is, heel touch. Let's go. What is up, gang? For those of you who might be new here, holy fuck, that just put me out of breath. I'm Daddy Wellness, the world's healthiest fucking degenerate, Richie Lovelace. I am really just experimenting on this channel right now. I want to do a lot of videos like this. Holy fuck, I'm out of breath. I want to do videos. I want to just post as much as possible whenever I have a random thought or idea. So that's what I'm going to do. And today's topic is why I broke up with the Zaza and my whole story with it. So first things first, why did I stop? After 5 years of absolutely chiefing, I started feeling disassociated with myself. My whole personality was taken over by that reefer. I started having panic attacks. The voice in my head started taking over me. I became extremely anxious in social settings. I had very terrible, intrusive thoughts, and it was just a very dark time. But it didn't just go like that from one day to the other. The first 3-4 years of chiefing that gas, it was an incredible time. And in order to understand the realizations I had once I experienced the paranoia and all the crazy shit, I feel like it's necessary to know a little bit of the past on my addictive personality and how I abused the Zaza. Back when I was 15, 16, I got suspended twice from school, almost expelled for doing some really dumb shit. And a lot of my good friends' families were just like, nah, you can't hang out with Richie anymore. He's a fucking idiot. And so I was like, fuck it, whatever. I'm going to go do my own shit. I was a skateboarder, and I went to this local skate park here in Miami, and I met this group of guys at the skate park that had a group called Stay Splash. I became really good friends with these group of kids who were older than me. They smoked a ton of dope. And in order for me to join the skate crew called Stay Splash, I had to rip the fucking bong. And so I ripped the bong at 15, 16, snapped it, was listening to some Money Trees by Kendrick Lamar. I had $10 in my pocket, went to Subway, best foot long I've ever had in my fucking life. And from that day, up until I was 20, I smoked almost every single day. Dab cart always in my pocket. I had a fucking rig in my bathroom, was ripping bong, would smoke anything. I was just getting stoned. I was so functional off the weed for the first couple years in high school. I got good grades. I was giving presentations stoned. Everywhere I would go, I was stoned. School, sports, gym. I loved it. The music, the laughter, the sense of adrenaline from hiding from my parents and putting eye drops in. I got caught tons of times. I started getting drug tested. That's when the anxiety started building up. And then closer to when I started going to college, that's when shit got pretty fucking bad. I started having really bad intrusive thoughts going into college. My gym routine kept falling all over the place. And I've always been the type of person. So if you're the type of person that's like me when I explain this, and you have similar experiences with weed, then it might be a sign for you to break up with her as well. So pretty much, I've always wanted to do a lot of shit, work hard, play hard, be in good shape, feel good. And the weed would always allow me to escape that a little bit. And it kind of just started taking over me. It was my personality. Everyone would tell me, I would always tell my friends like, yo, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. But I just would never quit. Like I knew I had a problem. I just never had balance. I think the extremist approach was really bad. And so because I pushed it so hard, I'm just the type of person that couldn't handle it at one point, and then we just hit that breaking point. And so flash forward to 5 years later, it just started. I would get high and it was just not fun. It was just didn't feel good. It wasn't laughing like it was 16, 17 with my boys going to smoke in a park. I was just smoking by myself every night. And it started really tanking my productivity. I was operating at like second gear versus sixth gear where I am now. I'm just firing off the engines every single day. My focus has never been better. My memory is incredible. My sleep is fantastic. My mood is good. I have stable energy. I feel great. And I did feel like that at times while I was smoking, but after 2-3 years, I just did not feel like that all the time. And since I stopped, I have never felt better. But what caused me to stop completely? Someday in January of 2020, right before lockdowns. I ripped a bong twice and I got fucking fried like never before. I had the worst panic attack of my life, the worst anxiety of my life, and something in my fucking brain just like completely fucking changed. I took this bong rip and then I was going to go to a food court to get food. But after I took the bong rip, I just remember this fucking fucking terrible noise in my head. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. It sounds pretty funny, right? Nowadays, I look back and laugh because it was just a panic attack. And, I wasn't really going to die. Ever since that day afterwards, for like 3 months, I couldn't even go into like my school cafeteria. When I would go to bed, I would hear like that voice in my fucking head just start attacking me and not letting me go to sleep. If I had to give a presentation in front of my classroom or some shit, I would start having fucking racing heart rate, sweating hands. I couldn't drink coffee. I couldn't drink any caffeine. So some really weird turning point happened there that I thought it was just the weed. But what I had realized was that I began that smoking after 3-4 years was not just smoking for fun anymore. It was just to fucking silence all the other important things that I wanted to do. Have a really good nutritional regimen, eat healthy, go to the gym, make sure I get good grades, fucking working to make money in college, building ideas and actually pursuing certain things that I wanted to do aside from school, like extracurriculars and shit like that. I would go to a party and be lazy, wouldn't be trying to mac on girls, whatever. It just always kept me in a state of comfort. And so fuck comfort. You know what I mean? I started realizing that like this is trash. And when I had that panic attack, I said, fuck this. I'm completely done. And that is exactly when I started going through like this whole fucking internal journey of trying to find myself and get rid of the weed and stop smoking, which I did for 2 years. So after 2020, for 2 years, I didn't smoke at all. And during that period, I just started making more money than I had ever had in the past. I got in the best shape of my life. I started feeling really good and I felt fantastic. But then I fell a little bit back into the dope, started having really bad moments again, and just realized that it simply wasn't for me. As an extremist type of person with a highly addictive personality, it's just something I couldn't control like the way I do with booze in a way where I'll just drink on the weekends, Friday or Saturday, usually just one day. And I'm pretty dialed the fucking remainder of the week. Yes, absolutely dialed. But with the weed, there was just never that balance. And so that's not to say that I think, like, I don't want to tell anyone that you shouldn't smoke weed. But what I want to do say is that most people don't have the discipline, what I've seen with my friends and other people, to have it really under control. I was one of those people. And when I realized that I didn't have that control to consume it moderately, and I said, fuck it, I'm just not going to smoke. And if I ever do, it'll just be on a special occasion. If someone has a doobie and I'm hitting it at the beach or I'm just hanging out, then I started feeling a million times better. The anxiety went away after about 1.5 years, 2 years. It comes around once in a blue moon now, but not as much. And I still have a bit of attacking thoughts if I ever get too high. Like I'll take a little hit here and there, chill out, and it'll feel fucking great. But when you're in the state of hard grind, and I've really been in this like hard grind state trying to do shit, it's just not the fucking move. So really, the reason I broke up with it was because I noticed that the smoking wasn't just for fun anymore. And it had become just like a buffer to the reality. It was destroying my productivity. I would sleep way too long. It started fucking giving me anxiety, and it was absolute trash. And so it was an incredible ride, but that was it for me for the weed. And if any of you guys feel like when you do smoke, you are feeling that edge, that feeling of discomfort, but you just continue to go back to it because you just love that fucking stone feeling, then I suggest you maybe take a walk and ask yourself, do you really enjoy this shit? Because one thing that's for a fact these days is that pot has never been stronger than it is today. Like the 30% Northern Lights, the fucking blue dream, bro, that gets you fucking cooked. It's not for everyone. It really isn't for everyone. And a bad weed trip, I've heard from others that have said this. Someone said this once. They're like, a really bad edible trip or a weed trip is close to as bad as a psychedelic bad trip, which I've never really tripped on psychs, but someone who had done psychs said that. And yes, those were fucking terrible. Just being fucking overconsumed by your brain and not being able to like find yourself in the present moment. That's what weed would do. It would heighten those thoughts that would take you out of the present moment, fear for the future and thoughts about the past, and just fucking no bueno, no fucking bueno. And so I still think it's good here and there to maybe dabble a little bit if you're going to be outside and shit, but just smoking in your crib as a pastime and brain rotting on social media is fucking garbage. I was cranking Fortnite. So let's go back into some panic attacks that I had with weed in the past. There's 4 or 5 that I remember very clearly. The first terrible one, the first one where I actually thought I was going to die, was freshman year of college. I took 3 gummies, went to my boy's house, and was so fucking fried. I had to sit in the bathroom of his dorm while there's like a ton of people outside and catch my breath on the bathroom floor. I thought I was fucked. After that, it was when I studied abroad in London and my boy copped some sketchy dope off some freaking Arab guy who pulled up in a Mercedes Benz. That hit of a J was like I hit Clorox fucking Windex pot. And I remember some old guy walked past me on the street and I was just being a sketchball and I held it in, went to go play poker after. And I think my heart rate was at 175 for about an hour of poker that I had to take a cold shower after. Intrusive thoughts of death. The third one was in high school. This is even before that, actually. The first one, I had one in high school once where I had a fucking king pen in my pocket and I was just like rolling around through school, ripping my pen. And I did it before an English literature class, and I didn't know the president of the school was going to come spectate the class for the day. And it happened to be that we were writing an essay in that class. I go into the bathroom, I take a fucking Blinkerton, come in, see the president in the corner, and I'm on my computer just staring at the screen for 45 minutes, didn't type a word. I thought I was done that day. Another one would be the day I put my palm of my hand directly on a flaming red banger of a dab rig before lacrosse practice because I was so cooked and out of the fucking moment. I had a brand on my palm for like a month and then couldn't even play lax. I was tweaking out that whole practice, and I think I went to the bathroom to fucking yak 3 times because I couldn't fucking feel my face. And then the last one of all, the deathly Northern Lights pre-snowboarding trip to Vermont that absolutely altered my brain chemistry for a year afterwards. And I am someone who's always been extroverted, easy to hang out with people and get along with people. And it just stopped me from being able to do that. I remember I had to like pull aside some of my friends at parties, like while I was sober, because I began to have sober panic attacks. It was fucking brutal. And then that's when we went into grounding, meditation, and really getting all the discipline, nutrition, gym, everything back into play. Once it's insane. When you have your gym, nutrition, and everything in line and you're really taking care of yourself and owning up to your word and acting upon what you say you're going to do, the anxiety goes down so much. And the thing is that you realize it's not easy to do those things when you're constantly stoned and not sober. You'll say you'll do something, then you'll get high and you won't fucking do it. And I was in that constant loop for a long time before I had these panic attacks, which was what led up for me to realize that it wasn't just the weed. It was the way the weed was making me act and not live up to my word and do the things I wanted to do. But that's not to say I didn't have some of the best memories of my fucking life when I was getting stoned. Oh, I even left out another hilarious one. I pretty much got arrested almost in Spain when I was with my family visiting my aunt in Spain. We were going to go see the bull runs where people run in front of bulls. And I was with my aunt taking a train from Madrid to Pamplona, San Fermin, where the bulls run. And I was like, yo, Margie, my aunt, I'm going to go for a walk once we got off the train station and this car picked us up to drive us to this place. I wasn't going to go on a walk. I went to go smoke a fat spliff in an alley. I got so fried. 3 undercover cops came after me. One guy, like, he walked into this alley and this guy like opened up his wallet and I just see a badge and I'm like, what the fuck? I had like 4 spliffs in my cigarette case and like a shit ton of hash in my bag, which they didn't end up finding, which was crazy because I had left my bag with my aunt and only took my cigarette case with the hash. I was like, oh, I'm going to get fucking toasted before I go on this long drive to the fucking bulls and shit through these like meadows and shit. And they thought I was over 18. So my aunt had to fucking take the ticket. And then she gifted me the near arrest ticket for my 21st birthday. Shout out my aunt. She saved my ass there. And then what's funny is that right before that day, or 2 days before that, there's a national park in Madrid with like a 15-foot iron gate, which I'll pop up a picture right here. And I was with my family fucking traveling in Spain, and I was like, yo, I'm going to go meet up with some friends that I met here in Spain, but I really was just going by myself to go smoke a fat doink in the park with the moon coming down. And this park is like a gated park where the cops can close the gates. And I'm sitting there on the bench looking at the fucking moon, just chiefing this spliff. And suddenly I see like blue lights coming to the gate, and they lock the gate to the park. And I am suddenly just so fucking blasted. This was before the panic attacks. I know we're jumping all over the place here because I'm just getting random memories. And I got stuck in the park, and I was just fucking pitch dark at night, no lights. I call the one friend that I did have in Spain to be like, yo, how the fuck do I get over this fence? How do I get out of this park? I'm stuck and I'm so fried. And my Spanish friend goes, tío, tienes que salirte ya del parque porque los vagabundos pueden hacerle daño a la gente que está en el parque en la noche, which means like there's like some homeless people in the park that like fuck up people and like do shit to them. And so like he told me that, and I started going into a spiral. I ended up climbing this iron gate. I have a scar on my leg still from my pants getting ripped and slicing into my leg that night. Walked home, and I remember my mom was like in the apartment. I was just like, oh no, I just didn't meet my friends, blah, blah, blah. Blood all over the sheets, ripped pants. It was outrageous. Those were a couple of the really classic, absolute insane memories. And then one of the funniest nights ever during the good times before the panic attack was took some crazy edibles with the homies, and I think I sat in a car for 4 hours listening to Beethoven from how fried I was. It was an incredible time, and I still think I'm going to have great stoned moments in the future. But if you're really trying to get after it and you're really trying to do a lot of shit and the weed is stopping you from doing it, then maybe you should tone back on the fucking weed. And that's a massive 20-minute yap session on a bit of my relationship with the Zaza and why I broke up with her in 2020 due to the panic attacks. And ever since then, I've never felt fucking better. Still fucking dabble here on 420, but it was a wild fucking ride. Let me know below if anyone ever has experienced something like that. And maybe I'll just start yapping more in my room because this is just fun. And I love doing shit like this. Much love, guys.